A UN diplomat just slammed Donald Trump after his humiliating speech to the General Assembly. The remarks were so self-serving and ridiculous that this senior official couldn't hold back and delivered a brutal rebuke that's now making headlines around the world. So stick around to see how this UN official destroyed Donald Trump on the world stage, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Now, in order to understand why this UN diplomat slammed Trump, we first need to take a look at the speech that Donald Trump gave today. Because I gotta be honest, it was truly horrendous, and even more so than usual. To start things off, Trump was back to making up fake numbers again to brag about how well our economy is supposedly doing.
In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion. Is being invested in the United States, and it's now pouring in from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business.
I want you to keep in mind that the entire US GDP is $30 trillion, so there's no way that this math adds up here. Next up, Trump insinuates what I can only interpret as wanting to murder illegal immigrants in this speech, and you can literally hear the UN diplomats murmur uncomfortably in response. Just take a look at this.
The Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means. I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country.
That is insane. No person, much less the president, should ever say something like that. Trump is an absolute disgrace to this country and needs to resign immediately. Next, Trump decided to take a more lighthearted turn and start complaining about things that happened at this UN assembly. And of course, he was complaining that his teleprompter didn't work and that his escalator didn't work either.
Got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier.
I just want to say, the people laughing at the UN aren't laughing with Trump, they're laughing at him. Nobody would take a very important meeting like this to complain about technical issues like Trump did. But I will say, there is actually a clip of the escalator, and it is quite hilarious. Just take a look at this.
For peace, President Trump.
President Trump. Schumer.
It seriously looks like that escalator was turned off right when he stepped on, which is just so funny to me. But Trump wasn't done complaining there. Oh no, he was actually just getting started, because here's him complaining that he didn't get to build the building that they are standing in. Seriously.
Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo, do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator, they still haven't finished the job. They still haven't finished. That was years ago.
This UN assembly is not the time or place to be talking about this, but what else could you expect from our baby of a president? Speaking of things that this was not the time or place for, here's Trump back to saying that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit, everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with the mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars.
Trump cannot stop complaining that he has not received a Nobel Peace Prize, which is both funny, but then also completely embarrassing. Now I gotta say, this has all been pretty bad, but it's not nearly as bad as what Trump said next. Because Trump directly insulted all of the countries represented at the UN. He literally says that they are going to hell. Just take a look at this.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
With all of these insane moments, I think it's easy to see how Trump left the UN diplomats disgusted, bored, and completely horrified. And this, of course, led this one diplomat to slam Trump and completely call him out. While Trump was speaking at the General Assembly, a Washington Post correspondent said that he received a text message from a senior foreign diplomat who was at the UN. This diplomat said, "This man is stark, raving mad. Do Americans not see how embarrassing this is?" And all I gotta say is, yes, we see how embarrassing it is. From all of us who are not completely brainwashed, we are sorry that this man is our president. Trust us, we didn't want him either. Trump's speech today was a complete disaster, and I think it's only a matter of time before we get even more diplomats and elected officials calling out Trump. But until then, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more.